ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Bandai Movie Monsters series Godzilla Ride exclusive figures King Ghidorah and Godzilla. Now I know what you're probably all asking. Where'd you get them? How much did you pay for them? As per usual, I used the Godsend combination of Zen Market and the Godzilla store. As for how much I paid for them, 130 plus altogether plus shipping. Yeah. Both of these figures pretty much averaged out to about $50, and then with shipping it was like an extra $30, but before shipping it was $102 pretty much. Yeah, it's not a cheap purchase, and I'm sure a lot of you have already seen these terrible prices, but unfortunately, when you tack on the word exclusive to something, that's just what you're going to get. Now, I do have some information. I know that there are a few sites that a lot of people in this fandom use that had these up for pre-order. I don't know if they've capped out yet or not. Showcase Daikaiju and Awesome Collector, but I have to beg, if you have that kind of money to spend on these, honestly, I'm going to ask you to use either Showcase Daikaiju if they still have them, Awesome Collector, or use the combination of Zen Market and the Godzilla store, because these things are only going to be available on the Godzilla store until June 13th. So technically June 12th for us because of time zones and everything. And unfortunately, the prices on eBay are only going to get worse. The prices that they're at right now is probably the best you're going to find them for. It's extremely unfortunate, and Bandai and Toho, I really wish they extended that or did a little bit more of a wider release for these things, but unfortunately, this is just how it's going to be. You're either going to spend a lot of money on these things or just not get them at all. And I don't like that. I really don't. I understand that they're exclusives, but I wish more people had the opportunity to get these because they are very nice looking figures. That is my proposal to all of you. Let's just get to talking about these figures, shall we? So up first, let's take a look at the big bruiser himself, King Ghidorah. Let's take a look at this tag. We can see Ghidorah in black and white over here, looking pretty monstrous, pretty wide in the chest region. Got them King Ghidorah titties. And I'm pretty sure this says King Ghidorah Godzilla Ride version. Got the Godzilla 2021 stamp on here. Turning it around to the back, surprisingly, the tag does have a cutout design over here, what looks to be just King Ghidorah's wing. And then opening the tag up, it's the same stuff that you'd normally see in a Bandai Movie Monster Series tag, and we've got the silhouette of King Ghidorah right over here. Now, since this figure is an exclusive, we will be using the double sleeve method for the tag, because as you all know, I don't like detagging my figures. I like protecting the tags on my figures, and when it comes to exclusives like these, I like to be extra careful with them. Extra special, and there we go. King Ghidorah's tag. Let's take a look at the figure. Welcome, the latest three-headed menace to the Godzilla franchise, or as I like to call him, Caramel Banana. He looks like a dirty banana covered in caramel sauce. Look at this. We've got what looks like the same color vinyl that Bandai used for the 2019 Ghidorah. He's just been accented out with this caramel brown. As you can see, from the feet to the thighs to the crotch to the chest to even the necks, there's going to be a very random sort of application when it comes to this paint. It doesn't seem to be evenly applied. It just seems like they went in there with a brush and they did what they did. And to be completely honest, I don't hate it. It just looks better in some areas than it does others. Taking a look at the center head over here, since all the heads are going to look the same because it is King Ghidorah, we're going to see a lot of massive detail on the horns over here, a very mean scowling brow, a brand new attribute to Ghidorah, that being a dragon-based beak over here. Very interesting. Not really a fan of it, but it does look cool. It does. And a lot of beautifully sculpted teeth over here. Look at that. Yeah, it's very hard to not be wowed at just how much detail they squeezed into this figure, and it is very, very impressive. And look at the paint on that eye. It's so nice and clean. It's almost like a golden metallic caramel color. I guess I could just say a metallic brown color too. And then on the inside of the mouth, we have this very glossy reddish brown. It looks really, really nice, and it really helps bring out that weird forked tongue detail in there. That might just be me. I might be going insane, but it looks like Ghidorah's forked tongue. It's a rather large tongue. A rather large tongue for a rather large boy. But pretty much all the heads are going to look the same. They are going to have a different variation of that caramel brown applied to their faces. Especially this one over here. It looks like he went right into the Scatman Chronicles. And it's going to be less heavily applied than others. Personally, I think Itchy and Kevin over here probably fared the best. Yeah, Nee over here got a little bit too much on his face. But hey, bruh, you like the pupils? You got the pupils. That's disgusting. The back of the heads and necks, as you can see, is going to have a lot more of that caramel caramel brown, going into all of the different and deep crevasses over here, bringing forth beautiful amounts of detail. Moving into Ghidorah's back, it's spiky, it's sharp, it's got a lot of it, it looks fantastic. Moving on into the tail, you're going to get the same amount of paint on it, and it's going to lead to the club tips over here. Now, personally, I think these look more like bushes than club tails, but hey, you are what you say you are.
A superstar.
On the bottom of the tails, you'll surprisingly still be getting some of that caramel brown until you get to about here on the figure where it just mysteriously stops. I don't know whether to be upset about that or not because it's at the bottom of a tail where I'm not going to be looking at all. Moving on to Ghidorah's gooch over here, we've got more of that caramel, and you can see Trademark Toho Company Limited, Bandai China, a bunch of numbers. Moving into the legs, again, more fantastic detail brought to the light with this caramel goldish brown. Very nice looking. Then we get to the chest over here where you can obviously see that this figure was glued together at a certain point, and it is a little overlapping over here, and I do think I am going to have to take points off for that because, come on, Bandai, how long have you been doing this? But then again, I don't think I've ever seen a Ghidorah figure glued together like this. This is very, very different. It looks kind of complicated, so maybe I'll let Bandai off the hook with this.
Today, yo, Ghidorah got some titties.
Look at those nips. But then we're moving on to the base of the necks again, and as you can see, very randomly applied when it comes to that caramel brown, and we are back at the heads. The wings. The wings. The wings are painted on both sides. The wings are painted on both sides. On both sides. Do I really need to pay 10 extra dollars, 20 extra dollars to get the back of the wings painted, Bandai? And they even went above and beyond to paint this portion of the wing, and it looks nice because there's this nice sense of separation. You've got the base color of the dark yellow mustard color and the dark brown, really giving a beautiful sense of the different colors on Ghidorah. And with the added vein detail over here, the figure honestly looks really, really good. And moving on to the arm, look at that. Look at all that amazing detail. Oh my God. Sweet baby Jesus, they did it on both sides, and look at that. Look at that. Look at all that. Oh man, that is lovely. Very, very lovely. And he's even got his little fingies. He's got 3 little fingies up there. Look at that. The nails, of course, are painted at the top, though. And you're going to get everything I just showed off on both sides, although you're going to get a nice set of wrinklage over here. Did I not show the wrinklage over here? Yeah, there's wrinklage over here, but it looks nicer over here. I think there's more of it over here. Am I going insane? Yeah, I think no, I think there is more over here. Anyway, gonna get the same on the back of this wing as well. Amazing how Bandai can go from not touching the back of a Ghidorah Bandai figure to absolutely coating the back of a Bandai Ghidorah figure and just making every little bit of detail there pop and look fantastic. You hate the Monsterverse, don't you, Bandai? And now just to show the legs some detail love, look at this. We've got the armor plating, we've got the scales, it's going down into these monstrous looking King Ghidorah feet over here. The toes, of course, will be painted, and honestly, the legs look like they got the best balance between no paint and a decent amount of it. I don't know, the armor plating on this just looks so good with the accentuation of that caramel brown. Very, very nice. Look at that. Do be forewarned, though, these feet were warped as sin. When I got this guy out of the box, his feet were more curled up than the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz. Do be very careful and have a hairdryer on hand. But anyway, as far as paint and details go, this figure is stacked on a lot of really great looking things here. Few mishaps here and there, and even though I'm not the biggest fan of this design, I have to say, paying $50 for this figure wasn't worth it. Absolutely not. $50 for this? Heck no. But I'm going to give it a solid star in both paint and detail. The wings are painted on both sides. Everything is painted on both sides aside from this, and I don't even care about this. I will not complain about this. This is all fantastic. I forgot to mention that there's actually detail on the roof of the mouth as well. Wow, that's not surprising at all, but I love it. Solid star for paint and detail. Articulation time. Believe it or not, Bandai gave this figure articulation. And they couldn't do that for 2019 Ghidorah. Not at all. It's only in one area, and that's going to be in the legs, and I guarantee you, you're definitely going to want to mess with these legs a little bit. You can even see this thing starting to curl up a little bit more now, just to get this guy to stand solid, but I'm pretty sure if you just bounce him back, he'll stand just fine. I genuinely was not expecting any kind of articulation on this thing, and we got it, even though it's just in the legs, not in the heads, the wings, or the tails. Solid star. Again, it's not my favorite design for Ghidorah, and there are a few heavily applied splotches of paint here and there, but the overall feeling and opinion I have on this figure is just that it looks great. You know, I could not be a fan of the design, but be totally surprised and in love with the fact that Bandai actually put effort into this. Yes, it does piss me off that this guy gets the AAA treatment, but heavy paint applications, quote-unquote, Ghidorah absolutely did not. All of that, coupled with the fact that this guy actually has articulation, I have absolutely no issue in giving this guy 3 solid stars. What can I say? It's a good figure. Now let's talk about who we're really here to see. Godzilla. Gonna be a little bit of a spoiler here, but 3 solid stars. But before I show you why, let's take a look at this tag. Here we have the design of Godzilla from the ride, and I'm pretty sure it says Godzilla ride version. We've got the 2021 Godzilla stamp and the corner over here. Where the hell did that accent come from? On the back of the tag, we can see Godzilla's dorsal fins, Bandai Movie Monster Series, and it's, you know, it's cut out to match Godzilla's dorsal fins a little bit. Opening the tag up, we can see a silhouette of Godzilla and the same stuff that we always see on the inside of the tag. Now, as I prepare the sleeve over here, as I reach over and grab another one, I just wanted to let everybody know that my first general reaction to this design of Godzilla is, great, another super roided out version of the Heisei Godzilla with a little bit of legendary in him. Yeah, wasn't a fan at first, but then I saw the figure. Then I got a nice close look at the figure, and I took a look at the footage again, and you know what I said? When I get that figure, it's gonna be 3 out of 3 stars. And as more in-hand images came out of the figure, and as I saw more people just praising the ever-loving God out of this, I really did begin to fall in love. This is a hulking mass of Godzilla. There is so much going on with this design and on this figure that I could honestly do an entire hour-long video of me gushing about the detail. Turning the figure sideways over here, it's just a cornucopia of crazy amounts of detail. From the arms, from the side of the figure, moving the arm up, more side of the figure, the thigh, into the dorsal fins. Oh god, the dorsal fins. They're not massive, but they're beautiful. They're detailed to all heck. Look at all of this. And the green dry brushing that was used on this figure. Different. Very, very cool though. Really bringing out all the different lines and crevices here, highlighting the sharpened spikes and everything. It all looks so good. And you know, taking an even closer look at all this, look at that. This is one of the best Bandai Movie Monster Series figures I think has ever been released. I know I said that recently for another figure, I don't remember which one, but look at this. I kinda dare you to not agree with me. Even if you dislike the design, you have to admit, this is probably one of Bandai's best looking Godzilla figures ever. I mean, just look at these feet, look at the toes, look at the thighs, the crazy thunder thighs. It all looks so good. It's just pure molten Godzilla here. Yeah, I do wish the feet got a little bit more of this mossier green, but I just find myself getting lost in the skin detail, the armor plating. Look at all of this, man. Godzilla's got dad bod again, and I've never felt closer to him. Just look at all of the wrinkles, the bumps, the scales leading into the neck. There's so much going on here. There's even a little, whatchamacallit, like a crest going on over here for Godzilla's collarbone. It's insane. Moving up into the neck and then into the teeth. All the teeth are individually sculpted and painted, mind you. The inside of the mouth is painted and likely detailed. We'll get to that in a hot second. And the eyes are all white, and honestly, honest to Goj himself, this figure is beautiful. I love it so much. So much. Yeah, we've got a sculpted tongue in there with some minor detailing. We've got some of the mouth paint on the opposite side of the teeth over here. Not visible from the opposite side, so I don't care. And we've got what looks like very minor detailing on the roof of the mouth as well. Just look at that head. Look at those mean brows, that adorable little nose, those soulless white eyes. Look at all that lovely detail on the back of the freaking head, all being accentuated upon with that beautiful mossy green. And it just keeps going and going. Yeah, the dorsal fins are only really painted on one side. You'll get some bleed over from the opposite end, but that's something that's been happening with the Bandai Movie Monster series a lot as of late. But again, crazy detail, all being accentuated upon by the mossy green. Just look at this. This is awesome. And wouldn't you know it, we're even going to get some of that mossy green on the bottom of the tail as well as some copyright over there. How you doing? Detail on the bottom of the feet. Lots of detail on the bottom of the feet. From the goji dong to the goji gut to the goji abs to the goji titties. This figure absolutely impresses me beyond all fraction of a nerve or something. Did you think I forgot about the arms? I absolutely didn't. The arms is probably the only area where I would outwardly complain about there not being enough green on them, because we have a little bit on the front over here. We've got a little bit on the hands and the forearm going into this spiked elbow, but everywhere from the shoulder to the back of the arm over here, it's kind of left a little bit blank. This mossy green is such a blessing for this figure because it brings forth so much that you can't see. So that mossy green is pretty much missed over here. Do love the brown on the fingernails though. I think that was a very smart choice. And Godzilla's got some weirdly shaped hands this time around. Kind of looks like he's going in for a... And pretty much the same thing that's going on with the other arm is going on with this one. You're going to get the mossy green on the fingers, the hand, into the forearm. Once you hit the elbow and up, the mossy green really isn't there. Unfortunately, my elbows weren't hit over here with that mossy green. It was just something that was on the opposite side. And again, you're only really going to get it on the shoulder blades over here. Other than that, this thing is a hulking mass of Godzilla perfection. Solid star for paint. Solid star for detail. Could have used a little bit more in some areas, but Goji Ride exclusive Godzilla bias. Alrighty, time for articulation. As you can probably all guess, the arms can move all the way around on both sides, as can the legs, one by one. And unfortunately, nothing at the base of the tail, and nothing at the midsection of the tail either, and quite obviously, nothing at the head. Articulation in the legs, articulation in the arms. Really wish there was some articulation in the tail, but I pretty much suspected that there would be no articulation in the tail, so solid star for articulation. This might not be my absolute favorite design for Godzilla at this point, but it is an amazing representation of Godzilla. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the Heisei era designs, but this feels like a modernized version of it. Godzilla is this massive, immovable tank of a creature. It looks like he could barrel through the entire world in about maybe 12 hours and just leave nothing alive or standing or anything. He looks like Godzilla. He feels like Godzilla. And this representation of him, both in design format and in Bandai vinyl format, has really won me over. Really, I didn't like this design when we first saw it. Seriously, roided out Heisei era Godzilla was the first thing that came to mind. But all that comes to mind now is the new Prodigal Son, one of my favorite Bandai Movie Monster Series figures right now, and possibly even of the year, and possibly even my favorite of all time, maybe? Check back towards the end of the year, maybe we'll find out. 3 solid stars for both of these figures. You know how to get them, you know how long they'll be available. I wish you all the luck of the world. If what I showed you here today didn't win you over, don't worry about it. You don't need these figures, but I'm sure glad I got them, and I hope you all have the ability to get them as soon as you possibly can. If you're unfortunate enough to be missing them now, I hope in your shopping and your hunting and everything, you'll come across a seller with a decent heart who would be willing to sell them to you for their essential prices. I have been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you enjoyed. Patrons, thank you so much for coming. ShinRobjira patrons. I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.